Welcome to the Agent Bridge podcast. We're your hosts, Brandon Baca.
And I'm Marl Hessen.
The Agent Bridge is the proven path to real estate success without the burnout. All right, everyone. I'm excited today. We're welcoming one of my good friends, a mentor in the business, an all-around great guy, John Altic from JLA Realty in Houston, Texas. And John, you have about 1,300 agents in Houston. Is that right? Something like that?
Yeah, we're sitting about, I don't know, we've added like 30 in the last couple of weeks. So yeah, we're pushing 1,300 pretty hard.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's great.
Congratulations. Yeah, it's been great because, John, I can reach out to you anytime. You pick up the phone, you answer, you give me some advice. And so I'm always thankful for you, man, and thankful for you for being here today.
Well, yeah, I appreciate being here. I love doing this. And as an independent broker in real estate, it's tough. You're competing against the big brands with leadership teams all across the country. And so right. I love getting together with other independents and just talking shop and comparing ideas and mentoring. That's what I love to do about in real estate. That's why I'm here.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. Exactly. Well, one of the main things that I really wanted to talk about with you today is that there's been this big change in the marketplace. I mean, we obviously, somewhere around August or September or whenever the heck it was, right? The Fed raised interest rates to slow inflation, which had a massive impact on the business. We were going gangbusters. I think that realtors, were sort of, high on the hog, making all the money, and thinking about, it's like, okay, hey, I'm a great realtor and I've got all this business coming at me. And then all of a sudden, boom, that shifted overnight. And,
yeah,
go ahead.
For sure.
And I think that, what I've been coaching our agents on is like, you have to be a different realtor now than you were then, than you were 6 months ago, or as you mentioned earlier, 6 weeks ago. You got to be willing to reinvent yourself. And I think that realtors who approach this market with the same strategy as the last one are going to be in a world of hurt. And so I want to talk with you about, marketing strategies, how we need to approach this new market, how we need to win in 2023, how we need to maybe jump into, being adaptable or an adaptation of a real estate agent. So all of that stuff. So I just would love, just before we kind of dig into the questions, let's just start off. Like, what's your sense of what's going on and what people should be doing?
And you hit the nail on the head. And I think what we've got right now in the real estate market is, we had the bottom fell out, like you said, somewhere around August, September. But I know here in Houston, we're running gangbusters here in January, but it's different. Yeah. And we have two types of agents out here right now. We have what I call COVID agents, those agents that got their license during COVID, and they immediately fell into a mass amount of business, right? They were busy from day one. All they needed to do was write contracts. As long as they could fill out a contract, they were closing business. And so those agents never learned to market, right? They never learned the ins and outs of the core of this business, which is marketing. They didn't have to. And I'm not pointing fingers. They just didn't have to. Why do it if you don't have to? Exactly. We also have these seasoned agents that have been doing this 5, 6, 7, 10, 15, 20 years that during COVID didn't have to do it either. So they got extremely lazy with that. I'm not saying that as a negative. They didn't have to. So they kind of got away from what got them in the business. So now we have this kind of weird dynamic going on in the market where I'm seeing realtors that get this marketing piece right exploding really fast, and others over here like, I just really don't know what to do. Either I was never taught, or what I did 6 months ago, 6 years ago isn't working. So we're in this, it's a whole new place, and it's kind of exciting because everybody's got some new skill sets going on, and marketing is, I love marketing. And I always say this, real estate is 99% a marketing business.
Yes. Your
friends won't call you to help them buy a house if they don't know that you're a realtor.
That's right.
And what I tell everybody, and this is the key piece that people need to take away from this, very, very, very small percentage of realtors in the country graduate from high school and go into real estate. Okay. Everybody comes into real estate with a brand that they were before they got into real estate. Either they were a school teacher. Down here in Texas, a lot of oil and gas folks, right? Mm-hmm. You were a coach. I was a corporate guy. I spent 14 years with Hershey Chocolate. So that's your brand. That's how your network sees you. That's how they know you. And you've got to break that brand in order for them to see you as a realtor. And it's not easy.
It
Okay.
is not
It's
easy. That's
not
exactly
easy,
right.
right? I was Willy Wonka for 14 years, right? Everybody loved the chocolate guy. You take that brand and try and flip it over to real estate where, really we're not the most exciting people in the world. It's a little tough.
Right. Right.
So now it's a new day when you're looking at what we've been going through for the last 2 years, but it's an exciting time. It's a good time to be in real estate if you're willing to take the marketing piece by storm.
That's right. If you're willing to adapt, to take the marketing. Yeah. And I've told people, it's like, look, you're going to have to work twice as hard to make the same money, period.
Oh, for sure. I
mean, it's, and that will build. You're going to get momentum, you're going to have some stuff coming at you. But I've said, like, there are two types of agents right now. There's the wait and see, which are going to disappear. Right. And there's the people who are going to be adaptable and going to basically, like you said, take this by storm, right? Grab a hold of it, are willing to do more work, are willing to change, be adaptable. And I've said, like the elements of success in 2023 are going to be focus and consistency.
Oh, for sure.
Focusing on the right things and doing that day after day after day. And I said, it's going to be boring. It's not going to be
doing the
exciting.
little things really well. You're going to have to do those little things really well. And the little things are boring and you don't see big results from it. And I use the analogy of the gym a lot. If all I had to do was buy a gym membership and I would lose 7 pounds a day every time I walked in the door, dude, we would all do it. Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
No
it's
question.
going consistently day after day and seeing zero results, right? Zero results every time you walk in the gym. And that's where that's real estate marketing, right? You're doing all this stuff because the buying patterns are so odd in real estate. You don't know when that's going to hit.
Right. Well, when you say marketing, and this is the interesting thing, because a lot of people don't sort of conceptualize, like, what does that mean? Like, I need to have a TV commercial. Do I need to, what does that look like from a social media perspective? Do I need to buy advertisements? Do I need to, so, that's one of the things that, I'd love for our listeners to get from you is like how you conceptualize marketing from a real estate perspective, because I think it's unique. I think it's organic. That's the other thing, because I think people think way too big when they hear the word marketing, or they're like, I'm going to go out and
buy thousands of dollars worth of ads and
I need the most professional videographer to go walk through my listing. And I got to spend thousands of dollars on that. And it's like, no. You got to start small. And that's one of the things so could you talk about your philosophy for marketing for real estate professionals?
So one thing you got to remember is who you're marketing to. Right. And in real estate, the bulk of your business is going to come from friends and family and referrals within that friends event. We as a society don't do business with strangers anymore. Right. If you need something, you don't randomly just call somebody out of the yellow pages like you did 25 years ago. That day is gone. Right.
Yeah.
And so now we're in this, it's friends and family, people we know. The number one piece to remember right off the bat is, would this work on me? Okay? Because you're marketing to people that are very similar to you, right? And for instance, I don't teach door knocking at JLA. Why? Because I don't want you knocking on my door, my house. I don't like it. I think it's dangerous. I don't like it. Does it work? Yes. If for the right person in the right frame of mind, maybe.
Sure.
What you got to do is you got to look, okay, if I'm doing this, would this attract me? Would this interest me? And it is not a $50,000 a month marketing budget. It is not. It is doing those little things well. And I will tell you, we've had a shift, right? We're coming out of what I call the golden era of Facebook marketing, right? Where as long as you're, Facebook was new and it was exciting and everybody did it and you got business there. Well, then it's kind of like, everybody's doing that, right? It's really not that exciting anymore. You're just one of the masses. And in our society today, we are inundated with data. Things are coming at us right and left, right? If you're on 4 or 5 social media platforms, your email, I get 800, 900 emails a day, of which 98% are spam, right? Everything's just coming at you. So now I teach, and what I know works and what I've seen work is a very hyper local marketing strategy that is absolutely all about touches, right? And it's got to be like, it's got to be real and it's got to be relationships. So it's got to be real, 2 R's, real and relationships. Think about this, your last birthday, okay? How many Facebook happy birthdays did you get?
Like a bazillion.
How many cards did you get in the mail?
No, 0. Maybe one for my dentist.
Yeah. So if I'd sent you a card in the mail for your birthday, I would stand out like no other.
Isn't that a funny thing? It's as simple as a birthday card. right? It's like that. If you were to ask people, they'd be like, well, that's dumb. It's like, no, it's actually brilliant when you think about it.
Because
That-
everybody wished you happy birthday on Facebook. It didn't mean
Right.
anything, right?
Right.
Now you go back 15 years and you're watching your happy birthdays on Facebook. You're like, all these people are commenting to me, right? And you're
Yeah.
excited. Now you get to the point where it's very
You've
it's
got to
very
go like them all.
mechanical. Yeah, there's nothing to it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that birthday card that somebody takes this time to say, hey, Brandon, wanted to wish you a happy birthday. Hope all is well. Dude, I was thinking the other day about the time you and I were in high school and we did whatever, and I was laughing about it. You're going to read that and it's going to make an impression on you far more than anybody's happy birthday on Facebook. Okay. And would take that person less than $1.50 because they can buy a dollar card at the dollar store. They can throw a 50-cent stamp on it for $1.50. You're going to remember them over the other 3,000 people that wished you happy birthday on Facebook.
Yeah.
It's that simple. And so where I think agents have to go is yes, social media marketing, digital marketing is always going to be here. You can't walk away from it. You can't say, I'm not doing this anymore, because it does give impressions, right?
Yeah.
We really got to take a strong look at getting back to what I guess we did 25, 30 years ago. And that is phone calls, personal notes and note cards, face-to-face type marketing, right?
Yep.
Things that make me remember you. And phone calls is one I talk about a lot because it scares the crap out of people. Excuse my language. When your phone rings today, every time your phone rings, somebody wants something.
Right.
Nobody calls you just to say, hey, dude, how's your day? Except for me, I call you all the time and do that.
Yeah, you do.
Nobody calls you and says, man, I just checking in on you. You were on my mind. I saw something that reminded me of you. No, when your phone rings, every single time somebody wants something. And that is the world we live in today. But think back when you were, I'm pre-COVID or pre-cell phone guy. In junior high, you sat on your parents' phone, landline, and you chatted with your buddies, you chatted with your girlfriends for hours, and you talked about nothing, right? But you knew those people really, really well. Now, everything is done text message or I need you phone calls. And all we really know about people is what they present in the social media world, which we all know most of that is a lie, right?
Right.
Or a very clean version of the world they've got, right?
Exactly.
When I challenge agents to just go through their phone, click through their contacts and hit call and just call to say, you were on my mind. I was thinking about you. They won't do it. It's the scariest thing in the world because it's so foreign. But when you do it, it means something. Dude, you're a prime example. I call you randomly for no reason. I guarantee you when you hear my voicemail, even if you're busy and you answer it, you're like, wow, thanks, man. Like I like that, right?
No, I feel like basically, and I'll just be honest with everybody. Like, I feel like, oh, John cares about how I'm doing.
Yep.
Right. Like that means something to me because there's nothing, like our relationship. I mean, there's nothing that we can give each other except friendship and camaraderie as we're building, out our businesses. But that's what I love about that. Our relationship is like, there's nothing to get there. It's only it's relational. And I appreciate that. And I want to talk to you.
Yes.
So, and I think one of the key concepts that realtors have to understand, period. Right. And this is like, I know about everybody's Instagram, followers and Facebook followers and whatever, but real estate is about making money. It's not about being famous. It's about serving your community. It's not about being famous. And I think so many people coming in, especially, the younger crowd coming in, no offense, I think, but the idea is like that's swimming in their mind, all of that sort of like, how many followers can I get? Can I create the perfect Instagram reel? And it's like, no, you need to be thinking about relationships with people, period.
Absolutely. And you're right. It's not just like I said, a popularity contest. I've never seen somebody that posted the most amazing video on Facebook immediately get a client out of that. It just rarely happens.
Right.
Is it there and does it make impressions? Yes. But I think what you have to have is think about this from a buyer or seller's perspective. Everybody knows 15 realtors. Okay. Why are they going to pick you? Well, we're a very top of mind society. When I think real estate, I'm going to immediately think of somebody. And let's just switch gears from real estate because this is all we do. Yeah. But when I think of cars, because I'm a car guy, when I think of, hey, I need to have my oil changed, or I need to have something done on one of my classic cars, I immediately think of one guy. I know a lot of car guys, but I immediately think of one guy because that's the person that has made the greatest impact on me, even though I know tons of them. Same thing in real estate. If you're not the person they think about when they think real estate, or every time they hear your name, they think real estate, it's got to go both ways, right? Then your marketing's not working, okay? Because somebody else is doing a better job. And it has to come down to, again, top of mind. So it's got to be consistent, right? You can't go out here and you can't go out here and send me a Christmas card and expect that to be the only thing you do, right? Just like you can't just do Facebook posts 3 days a week and that be the only thing you do. You've got to build in the relationship touches with the social media type marketing and get that blend working so that, boy, every time they turn around, there's a little bit of a touch from you, right? If you're doing that correctly, then everybody in your network is going to immediately think of you when they think of real estate. It's that simple. I mean, Coke's the #1 brand in the world, most recognized brand in the world. And every time you think of soda, you go to a restaurant, you order, you normally say, yeah, can I get a Coke?
Yep.
And we only have Pepsi. Okay, that'll work too, right? But Coke is so recognized, it becomes synonymous with the industry of sodas, right?
Right.
How do you get to be that way? How do you get to be the Coke or the Starbucks or the Nike or the Apple within your network of 80 to 100 people? You don't need to do this to 10,000 people, right? That 80 to 100 people will feed you all day long. But you got to be very, very directional on that and dial that in and build those relationships with those 80 to 100, what I call referral partners. Because even if they're not buying, they're referring, right? One of my team leaders, Kim Scott, will tell you she has a friend that's a flight attendant that has never bought a house from her, not once, but has referred her like 15 deals because that's her girl, right? Kim is her girl. She's constantly marketing to her and she gets, so don't always look at it, who is buying and selling. No, who loves me as their realtor of choice, even if they're not ready, that will tell everybody about me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just fascinating. We were talking about that the other day. We were talking about people like realtors, like when they're getting into this, they think they got to download their whole iPhone into a CRM. And it's like, no, you need to start small. I mean, like I tell realtors, I was like, hey, start with 25 to 50 people and your mom and dad count.
Yeah.
And your cousin and whatever, like start there. It's like, by the way, your family members need to be reminded also that you're doing real estate and they can refer you. Hello. Right. Your cousins, your brother, your sister, whoever. So those people count in your network because they want you to succeed. And then you kind of build from there and you'll start to kind of learn who those referral partners are over time. But
yeah. Do you think it's easier for your agents to rise to the top that are following these simple marketing strategies right now? Because I think what we're seeing is just a lot of people did get lazy, like you said, and then a lot of people were in the COVID market. Do you think it's easy for agents in your market to rise to the top if they just follow these kind of simple strategies? Absolutely.
I launched a accountability program I call MAD. It's mentorship, accountability, and discipline. And you get points. It's a point system based off these things we're talking about. You get 1 point for every card you send out. You get 1 point, you get 5 points for a video, because I do think video is powerful. We can talk about that too. But you get less points for just text. You don't get any points for texting anybody. Sorry, there's nothing there, right? You don't get points for some of these mundane tasks that we do every day, because that doesn't necessarily drive business, with a goal of 50 points a day. And what's funny is the first week, some of my top agents who are doing great business come back to me and say, John, I got 37 points for the week. Hey, so they're closing $5, $6, $7 million a year, but they're not even doing the right things to grow that business. And they're so excited because a lot of agents, full-time or even dual career agents, they put a lot of hours into this business. They don't put the right hours in, right? You can work 8 hours a day, 5, 6 days a week in real estate and never do the things that you need to do to drive business, which is this basic, simple things. It's the little things that you don't think are going to make a great impact. It's the little things that are boring, right? Sitting at your desk and handwriting a bunch of birthday cards seems so boring to people because, again, there's this real estate mixer going on across town that, man, I can go there and hang out with 100 other realtors. Who's the one person you can't sell a house to? Another realtor, right? But that's more fun, right? That's more fun than sitting at your desk and just writing out birthday cards. Or my absolute favorite, thinking of you cards. You don't need a reason to send somebody a card, but you talk about how to use social media. Facebook's one of my favorite. Most people are on Facebook, depending on your age and demographic, which is going to go away because my 15-year-old wants no part of Facebook. So 10 years from now, that's not going to be a marketing play, right? But you can mine every bit of data you need right off Facebook. Most people have their birthdays on there, right? Most people post the things on there you need to send them a card about, right? Is it a bereavement card because their grandmother passed away? It's right on Facebook. So instead of commenting on that Facebook, I'm so sorry to hear that, just take the time to sit down and write a card. I'm thinking, I'm really sorry to passing your grandmother, and send it to them, right? All the data you need is on the internet. You just have to put the time into it. And you got to build a strong CRM so you're not constantly chasing addresses and phone numbers and all that, but it's all right here. It's not that hard.
What is your video strategy, by the way? So you said video is powerful. So what is that specifically?
So my personal opinion on video is raw is better. Why is TikTok such a monster? They're not filming that in a studio somewhere, right? They're filming something, they're grabbing their phone, they're filming it on their front porch, and man, does it just take off. And I think there was a time early on in social media, man, those well done, videos done in a closed environment that were edited like crazy. People like that. Now I think people like you. They want to see you for who you are. We are all imperfect. We're perfectly imperfect. Don't do 443 takes. Shoot the video, post it, whatever it is, whatever your content is, doesn't matter. Put it out there. And why is it so powerful right now? Because there's a very, very small percentage of people willing to do it.
Why do you think that is? Because that's one of the things that I struggle with in coaching agents is they go, well, they just have such a mental block about push and record. Why do you think that is?
Listen, I don't know. You play these back. Do any of us like how we sound on video, right? Do any of us like how we look or sound? No. There's only like two guys in the world that think they look good, and that's Matthew McConaughey and Brad Pitt. The rest of us are awful at this, right? And so, but you got to be okay with it. And my favorite quote, you're going to see me put this out on my social media today is you're afraid to hit start on the video and you're afraid to pick up the phone and call somebody, but you'll wear your pajamas to Walmart. Like really, like we've got to get through, and you're willing to take your pajamas and go to Walmart and not worry about it, right? No shame there. But you're worried about the video. You're worried about making the phone call. We can't do that, right? And there's this bad mental block. But just know we all laugh about the funny ones, right? So if there's a mess up in there, who cares? That's what we like.
I feel that, so one of the things that we do with this podcast, actually, we don't edit it at all. We might trim it on the front and the back end as we're like leading in, but we just got to go raw, and then like that works for us. So and all the mess ups and all of the maybe I got to clear my throat or whatever. And I don't think anybody cares about having a perfectly edited life.
And a lot of the videos we put out from a recruiting standpoint, it's like 60 seconds of just raw walking down the street, filming yourself on your iPhone.
That's right. So when I'm doing like, if you sort of have like a inspiration, like I just push record and go live and go from there.
Well, it's a shift in our society. So just how we're sitting right here, right? 15, 20 years ago, we would have put on maybe a jacket. We would have been uncomfortable, right? Now we're sitting here. This is just us, right? We're doing our thing. You got your hat on, right? This is you're working your brand. You're doing these things because you're comfortable. And what do we all like in our society today is comfort. Don't make me uncomfortable, right? As a consumer, as the end user, right? And that's what agents need to do. Like engage with your people in a comfort level. I've never met anybody that said, man, I'm really uncomfortable when you send me those birthday cards. It just makes me feel uncomfortable. Nobody does that, right? It draws them in. They want to know, and here's the thing I teach about phone calls. Everybody should make one truly organic phone call a day to somebody they've not talked to in the last 3 to 6 months. But you better be ready, because you're going to realize how poor a friend you are. You're going to realize how big a jerk you may be, because you're going to find out things about them that they didn't post on social media. You're going to find out people have gone through a divorce. You're going to find out people they've lost a loved one, because there is still a very large percentage of our society that does not share their life on social media. They're there, right? They only post the positives. They don't post if they're going through. Now, we all know that messy person that just shares everything, right? And like I always say when I'm teaching, if you don't know who that messy person is, it's you. But we've got to realize that there's the communication is what drives people to do business with us as realtors, right? Because I'm going to let you list my $400,000 house. I'm going to let you in my house. I'm going to let you go through my things, right? You're personal, right? I want to know who you are. I just don't want to see the person on social media because I don't really know that person. I don't. And I think you're just doing this for the money. Do you really care? And you went back to our relationship and I call you for no reason. You're not paying me to call you.
No,
I make no money off you, right? No. But it's relationships is what draws people. And I guarantee you, if somebody comes to you and says, hey, I need to refer a listing in Houston, Texas, I'm going to be the phone call. And we're going to get
there's no question. Yeah.
Right. Because we built that relationship, right?
Right.
Relationships first, business follows. I think too many agents are trying to just drive business with everything they do. And that's not what people want anymore. Maybe 15, 20 years ago, not today. Not today.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. So, kind of going back to, like, if I were to ask you, it's like, hey, what are 3 things that you would tell, like, if I'm a real estate agent and I'm just sitting there and I'm going, I don't know what to do right now. Like, I was busy during COVID. I don't know where my next sale's coming from. I've got 4 listings that won't sell. Like, what do I do right now to start to drive business? What 3 things would you tell them to do?
First thing I would do, I'd have to ask, do you have a CRM or not? If you don't have all your people's stuff in one place, contact information in one place, then you're swimming in the dark in a muddy river, right? Yep. So you got to have that, right? That is, and you're talking to a guy that started real estate 20 years ago that didn't have a CRM, right? I'm not do as I say, not as I do. I don't produce anymore, so thank God, right? Like, but you got to have that. Then that's before those 3, you got to get that going. I think you've got to look real strong at what you're doing and ask yourself, is what I'm doing every day going to drive relationships and drive business? And if I was picking 3 things, yes, I'm going to do social media. So I'm not taking that off the table, right? I'm not taking it off the table because it's easy and it's cheap, right?
Right.
But you got to be consistent there too. If you're we're going to talk one social media, number 1 social media. If your Facebook cover is your Christmas picture, you're already behind the 8 ball, right? You're already behind. That should be updated. That should be fresh, right? If your last post was 2.5 weeks ago, you're behind. It needs to be consistent. People need to know it's coming. You need to be scheduled in it, because we start to look for consistency whenever we're recognizing people. So 1, 2, you need to do a ton of phone calls, right? Now, if I was putting 1 and 2 to 3 together, I would say making handwriting note cards would probably be number 2. It's the most successful. Handwritten note cards, thinking of you cards is the most successful marketing I've ever seen in real estate. Nobody's doing it, and it means something, right? Right. That's probably, if you're only going to do one thing, do that. And then we back to the phone calls. Talk to people. You can't, if you send me a text message and say, hey, how's it going? I immediately think you're trying to get something from me.
That's true. Yeah.
Right. How's it going? What's up? You want something. Nobody does that. But if you just pick up the phone and call me, and here's the script I use. I'm going to go ahead and put this on here because I think people get very confused about how do you randomly call somebody, right?
Right.
So
this is such a funny conversation. Like, how do I call someone? Yeah.
It's true. I get it all the time. They're scared to death. So Brandon, you're going to be the person I'm going to call. I've not talked to you in 3 or 4 months. So I'm driving down the road because I'm got Bluetooth, right? I'm driving down the road. I'm headed to my next call. I've got 30 minutes and I know I'm going to call Brandon. So I'm going to dial you and you're going to answer. And you're like, hey, what's up, John? I'm like, hey, dude, not much. You've been on my mind. I just wanted to call and say hi. That is all you have to do. Now, if I don't want to do that one, I can pick this. It's like, dude, man, I saw that your daughter just went off to college. I wanted to check in and see how that's going. Congratulations, brother. Right. It's just something very small. And I can always mine it from Facebook, something you've done, or I could have called you. I noticed when you launched this podcast, I was like, man, that's awesome. If I was looking for a reason to call you, I saw it on social media. All I do is call and say, hey man, tell me how that's going. It's going to start a conversation, right? Right. Make it easy. And then just be conversational. Don't go to real estate. right?
Mhm.
Somewhere in your conversation with somebody you've not talked to in 3 to 6 months, they're going to say, what's going on in your world?
Mhm.
How's your life? What's happening with you? What's new and exciting? That's your open season for saying, oh man, this real estate stuff is crazy right now.
Mhm.
That's simple. Now we're having a call. Now we're having a conversation. Now we switched it over to like, and they're going to want to know. People usually want to know what you're doing. They're not just asking to be asking. Then
Right.
they may ask about, well, how did rates affect you? Right now, how did
Mhm.
that? What's that look like? Now, the number one thing when you're talking to people, and I don't care if it's social media or live in person or on the phone, people have got to cut the negatives out.
Mm.
Like I hear people on the phone and they immediately go, oh, interest rates killed I just killed this, right? No, stop that. Stop that, right?
Yeah.
You're finding, you got to find positives when you're talking. Do you know that person that when your phone rings, whatever they're going to be talking about is negative and you avoid that call?
Yeah. There's no question. Yeah. It's
Don't be that
what
person.
is this? What do they need?
Yep.
Yeah.
Don't be that person, right? You know it. We've all got that one friend. You're like, oh, this is going to be a party, right? Like, yeah, this is. I know where this is going, right?
Yeah.
So again, you're coming at them with. I'm interested in you. I want to know what's going on. I care what's happening in your world. And you know, I've had some people recently say, you know, I've done a really bad job of reaching out because those are those three things, very similar to you, Tom. Where are you on social media? Are you handwriting stuff and are you calling people?
Mhm.
And they're like, but I said, do this. It's real simple. Say, hey, listen. I'm reaching out to you. My broker is asking me to engage people that I've not talked to in a while. And I just want you to know I've been a pretty crappy friend. I've not followed up. And
Mhm.
I just want to see what's going on. You know what? Brutal honesty goes a long way.
Yeah.
And nobody's ever going to be like, no, you're right. You are one bad friend and I don't want to talk to you. Hang up, right? We don't
No.
do that, right? We
No.
love it when people say like, man, like I've just not been great, right? And we all go through phases where we're not great at that stuff, right?
Mhm.
Life gets in the way. But if you make those three things the key component of your marketing strategy, you are going to build relationships. And what I love best about Facebook, if we want to talk social media, and I know you can throw Instagram in here, you can throw video reels in here, you can throw all that stuff in, and that's a whole nother day, but everybody's doing it. So you're not going to look special, right? Don't be afraid to use the messenger apps on Facebook. It's a great way to connect with people and not to start that, right? So you see something that somebody's done, instead of commenting on their Facebook post, comment because they want to see that, but send them a Facebook message and say, man, that was really awesome. That I love what you did there, or congratulations on that, or whatever.
Mhm.
It creates a conversation that you can then run with later. And then when you call them 2 weeks later to touch base, it's not as weird, right? I haven't heard from this
Right.
person in 6 years. Why are they calling me? Right. So you can use these, but the key point, your end result for your three things, your end result is that I'm building a relationship. Maybe I had one before. Maybe I had a very flat relationship, and I'm going to make it deeper so that they're going to remember me, right? And that's what we're looking for here, because that's what we want, right? There are how many independent brokerages in the country? I have no idea. Thousands.
Yeah.
I don't call every one of them like I call you. I call you because we've got a relationship and I want to touch base with you and I want to know what's going on, because I truly care. If you give that vibe off to your 80 to 100, you get all the business you need, without a doubt.
So the other thing, though, if I'm an agent and I'm kind of hurting a little bit, the other thing I'm going to ask you is like, okay, John, that's great. I'm happy to do that. How long is it going to take? Because I need to make some money.
Any marketing, I don't care what you're doing, it takes 3 to 6 months to see the results out of it. You know, if you're hurting for money, if you need money right now and bills are coming in, then you're going to have to go set some open houses. Because that's a more immediate, somebody's out there. You're going to have to chase renters because that's a quick turnaround. You know, the renters are leaving leases and moving into new ones quickly. That's the hardest part of real estate, is what you're talking about here, is you're going to be talking to people that may not be a buyer or seller for 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, 12 years, right? And so you can't, we're an instant gratification society. We want to do this and we want to get that. And real estate doesn't work that way, but marketing doesn't work that way. I mean, you put it out there and you let it roll, right? And I will go so far as to say, if you're that agent that is really running up to that desperation point, it's okay to get that dual career going. Like go do something to bridge that gap and don't look desperate, right? So I think sometimes what happens is when agents get to that point where like my bills are coming due and I don't know what I'm going to do, you can come across real desperate real fast in your phone calls. You can come across real desperate real fast on your social media. And then it's hard. And I've seen this happen over my time in real estate and managing people is I've had agents, they like, listen, I'm in a spot where I need to go get that day job back, or I need to go work somewhere. The day they go back to work, or especially the day they get their first check, all of a sudden their real estate takes off. And like, why does that happen? I said, because you're no longer desperate and you're not coming across as desperate. So be okay having those. And that's when you pick up the phone and call your team leader, your broker, and say, listen, here's where I am. Talk me through this. Right. Because again, you got to come across as like, I genuinely care. If I'm coming across as that I'm desperate, none of us really like to do business with desperate people. It comes across.
Right. Right. No, I completely agree.
That's true of lead sources too, though. You pay for leads, and it's a 6 to 12 month cycle before somebody buys, and the referral pipeline is much stronger with your network. So
yeah.
Oh, 100%. So I'm one of the few brokers, and I have agents that buy leads. I'm one of the few brokers that's not a fan of buying mass amounts of leads because, quite frankly, I'm not doing business with a stranger. So, where are these leads coming from and what do they look like? Right. Because if I've got a $400,000 house to sell, I know a realtor. Like, where's this person coming from? Like, and yeah, there's a diamond in the rough everywhere, right? If you sift through enough sand, you'll find a flake of gold. But time spent following up with mass amounts of leads to me is not near as productive as spending that same time working your network full of people that know you and love you and will refer you. And I will also tell you that the problem I have with lead sources, it's very hard to build a relationship, even if you get one, right? So I get a buyer and we go, I don't really know anything about them. I paid for them. Hard to build that relationship. So then you're constantly doing it. You're never getting off the hamster wheel. Whereas you look at $10, $20 million producers, they've built this massive network of referral partners that love them and they know they care. And they're not out here chasing that hamster wheel over and over again. Right. So that's why I like that very organic, grow your network, work it hard, build your network. Yeah. And you'll get all the business you need for sure.
I tell people it's like, basically it's the process of becoming a person of influence. Yeah. Right. And it's like influential people in your life reach out to you. Influential people in your life take time to send you a birthday card. Right. It's just an example of it, being a leader, right? Being a leader in your community, being a leader with your friends. Anyway, I just love that strategy because it's so organic, because it's so relational, and because it produces results in a way that's going to create longevity in your career. Like continue to do that. And that to me is like, that's what you want in your life. It's like, trust me, you don't want to be Ryan Serhant, famous realtor. You don't, you might think you want that, but you don't. You really want to be a community leader. You want to have, relationships with people that you like. It's not about, again, not about being famous, right? It's about creating a community, about being of service to the people that are around you. So I just love that strategy from just a holistic standpoint, from the standpoint of just living a good life.
Yep. Oh, for sure. And I think, you talk about famous, I tell people, you just need to be famous with like 80 people. Yeah. Like you are the real estate guru. And how do you know? Sometimes people ask me, how do I know when this marketing thing is working? Because it doesn't always equate to numbers right away, right? Like we talk about that. It's working when your network's calling you for things not real estate related. Hey, I need a body shop. Hey, I need a landscaper. Hey, I need a pool guy, right? And you've become their go-to, like you said, you're famous for that. The other thing is when what's working is it's Friday night, you're at home watching the game on TV or chilling, but you've got a friend, a buddy, a family member that's at a birthday party across town. And somebody says to them, yeah, I'm getting ready to move. I'm going to sell my house. I got transferred, whatever. And they're like, oh, you got to call my guy, Brandon. Here's his number. That's when your marketing is working because you are top of mind. You are the most famous realtor in their mind, right? Yeah. That's all you've got to look at. So I tell people, quit trying to be famous to people that you don't know. Be famous to the people that you know, because they're the ones that are going to feed you business. You brought up an interesting point, and I wanted to touch on this. I think family, mom, dad, sister, brother, aunt, uncle, cousin are the people you got to market to the hardest. Yeah. Because they only see you as their son, as their cousin. That's your brand. And they forget what you do. They forget you're a realtor. So not that they're going to use another realtor. That would be a very interesting Thanksgiving if they bought a house with somebody else besides you. But with the referral piece of that, You know, how many people forget that, you know, you're a realtor, though? That's my son. He's not, you know, that's all they see you as. You've got to market to those people. And I'm glad you brought that point
Yeah.
up, because it's a crucial side. And I will also say this, your core people, 80 to 100, don't necessarily have to live in the town you live in.
Yeah.
There's some great referral partners out here that may not live anywhere near you, but they've got a network near you, or they've got people moving there. Houston is big for this. It's a very, very heavy relocation city. So people coming in all the time. So it's great to have referral partners from other parts of the country, because they'll send them to you. Right. So don't make your mindset so small that I'm only looking for people that are buying and selling in the next 6 months. You're not going to make it in this business.
Right. Man, any other questions from you?
Yeah, I think also if you stay silent with your group of people, right, and they don't know that you're an expert. So if it comes up in a conversation, it just came up in a conversation and then it's gone. Like they didn't interject and say, hey, well, I've got a great person, call them. They just let it go because they don't see you as an expert. They just see you as somebody who might do a little bit of real estate.
Right.
So
I think
that's
you're
why
dead on there. And if we think about that, why do we refer people? Right. We've all got those people in our life we refer out. Why do we refer them? We trust them, and then we know they're an expert. So are you that person? Right. And so it comes down to coming across as the expert. It's not always about, hey, I'm just a realtor. It's I'm an expert in this industry, and an expert in real estate can encompass a huge section, right? Like I know, I mean, people call me all the time for random stuff. I had a guy the other day, is like, I got a cracked concrete out front. Who do you know? Right. We got that, right? We got that. I need an animal control guy because I got squirrels in my attic. We got that. You want to be that expert, and a well-rounded expert in the industry from all areas. And then people, they can't get you out of their mind at that point.
Right. That's exactly right. Man, John, dropped a lot of wisdom on us today, buddy.
Good content.
Yeah, that was fantastic. I appreciate, the friend that you are to me, and the friend you are to our brokerage. And I think, we had John come speak at our annual summit. We're going to have him come speak again if he can make it.
I'll be there.
John, hey man, hey, thank you for all you do for us. And thank you for being here today. We appreciate it.
Oh, I appreciate it. I appreciate what you guys are doing for the industry. This is where the magic happens, right? Agents that are watching this, don't stop learning. You know, what you knew and worked 6 months ago is not working today. Keep your eyes open, keep embracing people like Brandon, people like myself that are always trying to find new and bigger and things that are going to bring the business to you. The day you stop growing and learning is this day you start dying. And in this business, it can happen really fast. So stay on it. Keep doing your things. Brandon, I appreciate you guys and everything you do over there.
Thanks so much, John.
Yeah,
appreciate
thanks.
you, man. Have a good one.
Take care.